Greetings, adventurers, and welcome to the Council 6, where we bring you all a D&D drama and peril, both real and imagined, that will take your breath and steal your mind. I am your host, G.A. Langaro, and I'm thrilled to be your guide on this journey through the rich and storied history of the Forgotten Realms. As a passionate fan of Dungeons & Dragons and an experienced dungeon master, I spent countless hours exploring the many wonders of this incredible world. From the towering spires of Watergate to the misty swamps of the Moonshae Isles, there's no shortage of adventure to be had. Also, in addition to our regular video content like this video here, we also host live streams of our D&D campaigns twice a week on Tuesdays and Fridays. So if you're looking for a bit of excitement and want to join us on our adventure, be sure to tune in and follow us on all our social media channels as well. And of course, if you enjoy our content, please remember to subscribe, smash that like button, hit the notification bell, and share it with your fellow adventurers. Your support means the world to us, and it helps us to continue creating high quality content for all of you. I would also like to let you all know that Council 6 now has a sponsor, Dubby Energy Drink. I ordered some for myself to try it before I recommend it to you all, and I have to say I'm pleasantly surprised. I don't really like energy drinks, but this flavor I went with, Push and Punch, tastes really good and is quite refreshing unlike other brands I've tried. Dubby is a clean energy drink that is made to give you focus with no crash or jitters like the other energy drinks do. Packed with vitamins, amino acids, 150 milligrams of caffeine, and zero sugar, Dubby will give you the energy you need to get through your next D&D session. It's priced to come in at about $1 per drink or less, much cheaper than most energy drinks, and you can get an additional 10% off your order by using our coupon code CO6 during checkout. The link is in the video description below, but without any further ado, let's dive into the rich and complex history of the Forgotten Realms. Welcome back to our series on the history of Toril, the world of Dungeons & Dragons Forgotten Realms. In the last video, we covered the time of dragons during the Dawn Age. In this video, we'll dive more in depth into the dragons' chief rivals, the Giants. So let's begin. Despite the long reign of the creator races in the Days of Thunder, Giants inhabited Toril before any of the other humanoid or demi-human races. The first of their kind and the source of their entire species were the sons of Annam Allfather and his wife Othea, something we will dive into shortly. As I discussed in the Batrachi video, the Giants even warred with the creator races during that previous age, but for the most part the Giants liked to keep to themselves and their endeavors unless prompted to action. Now I will try to give all known lore that is provided on the Giants that is given throughout all the various editions of D&D, source books, novels, and other ancillary sources. With the evolving nature of D&D, which comes with changes and retcons, something occurs when compiling Forgotten Realms history. Sometimes the lore contradicts itself, and it happens here with the Giants. Giant records and legends differed on when exactly Astoria was founded. Some sources claimed it occurred prior to the Tearfall, a period in which the Titans waged war with the Batrachi. Others say it occurred around the same time as the Tearfall in minus 31,000 DR. Still others record Annam's founding of Astoria 1,000 years later around minus 30,000 DR at the start of the Dawn Age to celebrate the last of his sons coming of age with the kingdom, being a gift for all of Annam's sons and their offspring as a sign of his favor. From the way I look at it, Annam was procreating and having his powerful sons throughout the Days of Thunder, and Astoria was founded around the start of the Dawn Age, kicking off the time of the dragon's counterpart, the reign of the Giants. Ancient Giants, or otherwise known as true Giants, which are all descended from Annam's children, adhered to a social structure called the Ordning, which has its roots in Astoria and the terrestrial sons of Annam. It was similar to a class-based society, but was much more specific, assigning a social rank to each individual. Therefore, each individual giant knew which other giants were inferior and superior to himself, and no giants were equal to other giants. As the kingdom grew, Annam split it up so that each of his favored sons could acquire part of it and go on to found their own dynasties. Vilmos received the seas and lakes, which would found the dynasty of the Storm Giants, who were one of the most intelligent and respected races of giants. Nicias received the skies and would found the dynasty of the Cloud Giants, who were easygoing, highly creative, masters of strategizing, and preferred to live among the clouds in floating citadels. Rook received the hills and would found Rangfell, the dynasty of the Hill Giants, the shortest in stature, weakest in mind, and lowest in rank according to the Ordning. Masud received the southern volcanoes and would found Heligheim and a dynasty of the Fire Giants, who were master craftsmen, had very broad bodies, making them sort of dwarf-like in appearance despite being roughly 18 feet tall. Obadiah received the caverns below ground and would found the dynasty of the Stone Giants in Grunfesting and Nedaheim, and were known to be a reclusive and artistic race of giants.
Ottar received the cold wilderness and northern reaches of Astoria and will found Jotunhund and the dynasty of the Frost Giants, who had a reputation among other races for being crude and of low intelligence, but they were very cunning fighters and greatly respected brute strength and battle prowess. And finally, Lenaxus, the eldest, received the plains and would found the dynasty of the Titans. From him, the capital of Astoria would be built, known as Vonenheim. There was also one exception: Arno and Julian, the two-headed runt of Annam's litter and the progenitor of the Ettins. He and all of giant kin races were never granted a portion of land by Annam from which to found their own dynasty inside the kingdom, although the Vodakin would lay claim to the forests of the kingdom, as Annam had not given them to any of his sons. The giants of Astoria were known for their unparalleled craftsmanship and artistic prowess. Throughout their history, they sought to outdo one another in creation of practical and awe-inspiring wonders. Each giant race contributed in their own distinct manner. The Hill Giants, despite their reputation for lacking in intelligence, surprised the world with their great stone circle. This monumental creation served as both a calendar and an oracle, with its shadow taking the forms of hunters and animals. The Hill Giants demonstrated their unique perspective on art and the natural world through this remarkable structure. The Stone and Fire Giants excelled in their respective domains. The Stone Giants showcased their masterful craftsmanship by constructing sprawling cities within vast underground caverns. Their architectural marvels were built with precision, blending seamlessly with the natural surroundings. On the other hand, the Fire Giants delved deep into the southern territories, taming the very volcanoes and building cities of unparalleled beauty. These cities, crafted from materials like adamantine and mithril, reflected the Fire Giants' affinity for forging mighty structures and working with elemental forces. Meanwhile, the Cloud Giants took to the skies, constructing ethereal castles and immense floating citadels amidst the clouds. Their architectural prowess allowed them to create breathtaking structures that seemed to defy gravity itself. These floating cities became symbols of the Cloud Giants' mastery over the elements. But the true marvels of Astoria came from the Storm Giants and Titans. These colossal beings built grand cities and fortresses that were unrivaled in their scale and grandeur. Storm Giants in particular crafted mighty castles in the sky and even established magnificent strongholds beneath the seas. Within these cities, the Storm Giants and Titans created galleries and exhibits that served as artistic tributes to all of giant kind. These galleries showcased the immense talent and creative genius of the Giants, preserving their history and culture for generations to come. The giant kingdom of Astoria, meaning father's seat in Jotun, also called the Colossal Kingdom, reached the height of its power by minus 28,000 DR and occupied an era of Faerun stretching from the Vilhon Reach in the south to the lands now covered by the Great Glacier in the north, and from the Savage Frontier in the west to the Cold Lands in the east. It maintained its power and influence in relative peace, but the two mighty powers of Faerun, dragons and giants, would crash in an inevitable conflict for superiority known as the Thousand-Year War. The Thousand-Year War, also known as the Great War of Giants and Dragons, was a long and devastating conflict that spanned across the realms of Toril. It was a clash of unimaginable scale and power, pitting the mighty giants against the formidable dragons. The roots of the Thousand-Year War can be traced back to ancient rivalries and conflicts between giants and dragons. Both races coveted power and sought to establish dominance over the land. The dragons, with their immense magical abilities and territorial nature, clashed with the giants, who valued their strength and superiority. However, one such event is easily seen as the catalyst that sparked this devastating conflict. The war itself truly began in minus 26,000 DR. By most accounts, it was when the dragon god Garrix sent an avatar to lead a flight of red dragons to attack the giant nation of Astoria, an assault that led to the burning and destruction of a cloud giant city. According to giants, this occurred because Garrix had inflamed those dragons with the thoughts of greed and envy over Astoria's prosperity. The Thousand-Year War witnessed colossal battles, fierce sieges, and unimaginable devastation. The giants, with their towering size and strength, waged war with brute force, using their superior numbers to overwhelm their draconic foes. However, they used cunning and inventiveness as well. The giants created a powerful colossus construct called Vonendad to help them in the fight against the dragons. These battles acquired such epic scope that they had become the source of inspiration for many dwarven, elven, and even giant classical ballads in the millennia to come. One of the most renowned heroes of the war was the frost giant Hjörnir Wormreaver, who killed many dragons single-handedly, although he could not match the Vonendad in terms of numbers of worms slain. He was credited during this time with killing an adult blue dragon with a single blow of his axe, and for breaking the spine of a black dragon over his knees. His final battle in life during the war was against an ancient gold dragon general who had destroyed many giant cities. Hjörnir lured the dragon into a deep and narrow pit he had dug in order to limit its mobility as they fought. The dragon then called upon its 12 lieutenants, whom the giant each slayed. But with no cracks for the blood to drain, Hjörnir died drowning in the blood of the 13 dragons he had just killed. Despite the giant's best efforts, the dragons ultimately drove them out of the southern portion of Astoria. The Vonendad were then deployed in the northern reaches of the kingdom to defend the cities therein, and after more than 1,000 years of warfare, Astoria finally reached a truce with dragonkind. Accounts of the nature of this truce were conflicting because many races recounted the event differently. However, according to giant traditions, Annam Allfather and Gerax settled the war by playing a game of Wa-Ri, an ancient abstract strategy board game in Faerun popular among giants and played even by some of the gods. The game ended in a stalemate. As a result, that allowed the dragons to keep the territories they had won in the war. By the time the war concluded, Astoria had been reduced to a shadow of its former self. On the day the truce was declared, the nation occupied only the northernmost edge of Faerun, the areas known as the Great Glacier, the Cold Lands, and the Savage North.
I would like to take some time here at the end of the video to talk a little bit about Annam and his wife Othea. Why at the end when they are the progenitors of all giants, you may ask? Because they are also intimately linked to the eventual extinction of the true giant sons and the eventual giantkin races, and the tragedy affects Toril into the present age. Annam Allfather and Othea were basically gods who came to Faerun to create and propagate and spent not just the entire Dawn Age, but remained there for almost another 24,000 years. This is when a story becomes like a Greek god tragedy. Shortly before the war ended, Othea began an affair with Ulutiu, another god of Toril, and their offspring went on to be the progenitors of most of the giantkin races like the Furbolgs, Fomorian, Verbag, and Vodakin. Othea concealed this from Annam for over 24,000 years, even going so far as telling him that her son Dunmore by Ulutiu was actually Annam's, but the Allfather eventually found out in minus 2,550 DR. His wrath was terrible and was credited with killing Ulutiu as depicted on ancient giant carvings. However, in reality, Ulutiu bargained with him, agreeing to go into exile in the astral plane if Annam would spare Othea. Ulutiu's slumbering body fell into the cold ocean, where his amulet began to freeze the waters around him. This caused a large region of Faerun's north to freeze, which led Astoria to be slowly swallowed by the Great Glacier. Heartbroken, Othea refused to bear Annam any more children. He attempted to trick her by taking the form of a divine wind and blowing across her slopes, siring one more son who would restore the dying giant kingdom. However, she immediately realized what he had done and refused to give birth. Yes, she refused to give birth. They eventually came to a reluctant agreement in which Annam would leave Toril until the unborn son Othea refused to give birth to called his name. Unfortunately, this never came to pass. The ice spreading from Ulutiu's amulet formed the endless ice sea and the Great Glacier, which destroyed much of what remained of Astoria, even threatening the capital city of Vonenheim, where Lenaxus dwelt. He and his brothers knew how to stop the ice, but Othea had forbidden them from setting foot upon the ice. Lenaxus developed a plan to poison Othea, but accidentally poisoned most of his brothers when Othea insisted they all drink with her. Othea cursed Lenaxus with her dying breath, sending him into exile in the Twilight Realm with his last remaining brother, Arno and Julian. Shortly after this, her mountainous body died, trapping the half-grown final son of Annam within. While this did not stop his eventual birth, more tragedy followed. The last son of Annam would eventually birth himself thousands of years later, perhaps around 1100 to 1200 DR. He came forth through what he described as the womb cave in the mountain that was his mother's body, and was named Heartkiller, due to his first action after exiting the cave was to eat a deer. However, due to his delayed birth, Heartkiller was stunted, only standing about 12 feet tall, which was extremely short by giant standards. His siblings refused to believe that he was their father's chosen one due to his stature, rebuked him, and refused to aid him. He eventually sought the aid of Othea's bastard children within the Firebolgs and other giantkin, and went to war with his siblings in what is known as the War of Heart. Sadly, he passed during this war. I will choose to stop here and go into more detail about the Heart War and what became of Lenaxus later when I make the present age videos. Giants and their descendants live in these regions to the present day and are scattered across the continent as well. Despite their immense stature and formidable strength, they seem to have chosen a life of reclusive solitude rather than conquest. The giants of Astoria left an indelible mark on the world with their exceptional craftsmanship and artistic expressions. Their work stood as a testament to their power, creativity, and the rich diversity of their cultures. And that's it for the reign of the giants during the Dawn Age. I hope this video has piqued your interest in the rich history and legends of the Forgotten Realms. Please, again, remember while you are here, please hit that like button, subscribe button, that notification bell, and share this channel with your adventuring friends. It means the world to me and does wonders for the channel, and I appreciate every last one. Also, if you'd like to do more to support the channel, I do also have a Patreon. The link is in the description of this video, and it's also in the banner of the channel as well. So if you'd like to support us, please go ahead and head on over to Patreon and pick whatever tier works for you. Join us for our next episode, where we will go more in depth on the rise of the elves during the Dawn Age. Thank you again, and until next time, so say we all.